In the Los Angeles Police Department is expected to result in justice for dozens of people who were apparently framed. Sandra Hughes reports.
To an already beleaguered police chief, it was yet another humiliation played out in public. LA Chief Bernard Parks admitted the cases of 99 criminal defendants were tainted by a dirty police officer.
We currently, as a department, no longer have faith in these prosecutions and have gone forth and requested the district attorney to resolve these issues as soon as possible.
Former officer Rafael Perez is at the center of the growing police scandal. As part of a plea bargain on cocaine charges, Perez admitted he and other officers shot unarmed gang members, planted evidence, and lied under oath to get convictions. 10 defendants got the news in court Tuesday that the cases against them would be overturned.
The court's apology, Mr. Davalos, for what happened to you.
22 convictions have already been dismissed, but the district attorney's office will investigate the new claims before throwing the cases out.
We're going to get to the bottom of this because the public must have confidence in its criminal justice system.
Because Perez has implicated a number of other officers, some of whom have resigned, been relieved of duty, or fired, it's still not known how many innocent people were convicted. Sandra Hughes, CBS News, Los Angeles.
There's an Eye on America update for you tonight on the mushrooming police corruption scandal in Los Angeles. Another officer from an anti-gang squad is now supporting the charges that his unit was fighting violent crime with violent crimes of its own. CBS's Sandra Hughes has our report.
George Ivashko spent 3 months in jail for carrying a concealed weapon.
I kept saying, I'm innocent, I'm innocent.
And he was. The gun was allegedly planted by Los Angeles police who raided a gang party in this neighborhood.
I remember being kicked and knocked to the floor, and I didn't know who was hitting me or how many cops were doing it, but I remember being hit, many times.
Ivashko claims former officer Rafael Perez was allegedly involved in the beating. Perez has admitted that officers from his anti-gang unit planted evidence, lied under oath, and even shot unarmed people. And today, the Los Angeles Times reports another officer is corroborating Perez's claims, saying that at least one supervisor knew about the illegal activities and that officers routinely carried drugs to plant on gang members. Former San Jose Police Chief Joseph McNamara is studying police misconduct.
There's a kind of street justice mentality, the loss of credibility when police act like gangsters themselves is so hard on the department. People stop believing the police.
This week, the LA police chief admitted that Perez alone has tainted the cases of 99 criminal defendants.
I am committed to eliminating any corruption within LAPD.
But the damage is already spreading. 14 victims have filed lawsuits against the city, one demanding $100 million.
The last thing that we wanted to have to devote new revenue to was to settle litigation. We wanted to be able to provide services that our residents can see and touch and feel and lead them to feel positively about the city we all live in.
But that may not be easy. This list, which the district attorney's office gave to one LA lawyer, contains some 5,000 cases that may be tainted by officers in Perez's unit. One source says the possible liability could be mind-boggling. Sandra Hughes, CBS News, Los Angeles.
This was sentencing day for the police officer who blew the whistle on a rogue LAPD unit accused of manufacturing evidence against dozens of suspects. He told the court he was an example of what a police officer should not be. CBS's Sandra Hughes reports on his sentencing and on the investigation of other corrupt LA cops.
In stark contrast to the tough street cop who terrorized the neighborhood he patrolled, former officer Rafael Perez broke down as he asked forgiveness for his crimes.
I was living two unmistakable lives, and each day the bad would consume a little of the good.
Perez was sentenced to 5 years for stealing cocaine from a police evidence locker, but his case is about much more. Perez uncovered the biggest scandal in LAPD history, admitting he and other officers shot an unarmed suspect, planted evidence, and lied under oath. As many as 20 officers have been relieved of duty.
The atrocities that were committed by myself and those who stand accused are unforgivable acts. It didn't occur to me that I was destroying lives, the lives of those whom we victimized and their families who love them.
CBS News reported last month that despite intense scrutiny, officers in Perez's embattled Rampart district are still under fire for allegations of using excessive force, this time against fellow law enforcement. In a statement obtained exclusively by CBS News, an immigration and naturalization supervisor reveals what he saw the night LAPD Rampart officers confronted undercover INS agents. The supervisor says an LAPD officer told a handcuffed INS agent to cooperate or he would shoot him. The supervisor also says he watched 6 LAPD officers wrestle another INS agent to the ground while he was screaming in apparent agony. Next week, the police department releases its internal investigation of the corruption scandal, but many question its fairness. Even the police union is now asking for an independent review.
In order to make sure that this never happens again, there has to be an investigation of the entire criminal justice system.
And the star witness in that investigation will be Rafael Perez, whose testimony alone could exonerate thousands of victims wrongfully convicted. Sandra Hughes, CBS News, Los Angeles.
The police officer informant in the Los Angeles Police Department's Rampart scandal. Sandra Hughes has the details.
Former Los Angeles police officer Rafael Perez has already admitted to planting evidence, lying in court, and beating up suspects.
It was like a war, us against them.
But now authorities are reportedly investigating him for cold-blooded murder. According to the Los Angeles Times, a former girlfriend of Perez claims he and another ex-officer killed 2 people. The crime allegedly took place at an apartment near the Rampart station. Though Perez's lawyer claims he didn't kill anyone, a vehicle allegedly used to dump the bodies has been impounded for possible traces of blood. Perez, in court this week, explained how officers routinely broke the law.
They ran from us and discarded the narcotics in the gutter. It was no big deal to us. We'll just put dope on you. We know you had it.
Perez turned police informant in exchange for a lighter prison sentence on charges of stealing cocaine from an evidence locker. The new allegation could put his credibility in question as a witness against other officers. And the startling charge comes on the heels of a monumental decision by the LAPD to allow the federal government to oversee cleanup of the department following the worst scandal in its history. Just last week, the LAPD agreed to a so-called consent decree.
A consent decree is the federal government stepping in and saying, we will provide oversight, we will take control of the big issues and big problems confronting the LAPD.
Although not unprecedented, it's an historic move for a department that has for decades resisted outside help.
The LAPD has always said, hands off our police department, but we've been through so much. We've been through riots, we've been through Rodney King, now we've been through the Rampart scandal. I think now there's the political pressure and will to say, make the changes.
One of the biggest changes will be to set up an early warning system to identify problem officers to try to avoid the kind of scandal that has rocked this police department to its core. Sandra Hughes, CBS News, Los Angeles.